How's it going, Saddle Cartel Podcast? I'm hijacking the show this week from John Mabry. We have Jerry Gross from Custom Gear Modifications on. How you doing, sir?
What's up, buddy?
Oh man, busy, busy. How about yourself?
Yeah, same here.
Hey,
Same here.
so, oh yeah. Um, so let's start off with thank you for your second donation to the Men's Mental Health
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
fundraiser. 2 years now. Um, so John's going to have them on the podcast. So I don't exactly know when this one's going to air. So he's going to have somebody on from the Fallen Outdoors on the 15th of May, which is in a
Okay.
couple of days. But I'll just read the first couple lines of theirs because they're a 501c3, and
Okay.
the Fallen Outdoors is a veteran-run, all-volunteer 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to connecting veterans, service members, and Gold Star families through the great outdoors. Our mission is to provide no-cost therapeutic outdoor adventures for those who have served or are currently serving, as well as Gold Star families. By fostering connection, camaraderie, and shared experiences, we aim to combat the crisis of veteran suicide through adventures. We help veterans and service members develop new skills and a lifelong passion, ensuring they always have a community to turn to. Which sounds great, and also like 501c3. So I did check them out because usually with a nonprofit, I like to see what, I'll check and see, what people are getting paid or salaries. And the top five guys I saw took zero salary. So I thought, so to me, that says like money that's coming in is going to the people they're trying to help.
Yep.
So I think that is fantastic.
Yeah, I've heard good
Um,
things about these guys in the past too.
okay, sweet. And you are a veteran, sir, and a veteran owned custom gear modifications owner.
Yep. Yes, sir. I am.
Um,
Well, me and my son, who's also a vet. He's a disabled vet, injured in Afghanistan. But yeah, we're veteran owned and family operated. All my kids are military brats, and now they're all grown, and most of them work here.
nice. The format's a little different, so I can see you big, but I see me tiny. So if I hope not to pick my nose or something.
Well, just stop
Um,
trying to look at yourself, man. That's what mirrors are for.
yeah.
And
So custom.
enjoy the sight of me for a little while.
Oh, I am enjoying it. um, so custom gear modifications. I usually like to ask like about R&D and stuff. So
Sure.
um, can we just basically get a rough draft of when you started and what was the first item that you ever produced?
Yeah, sure. So the first thing we started with was a dropout bag, and it was completely different from our current V2 dropout bag. It was kind of a folding vertical bag. It was popular, but it was a pain to make. So we kept trying to devise different ways to make it, but the way it was shaped and the way it came out, it was just a real pain to make. So we ended up getting away from that and getting into our current dropout bag, which we still sell, and kind of revised it to be a little simpler for the end user to use, and also for us to make here, and was able to bring the price down for that. Yeah,
Awesome.
but that was the first thing we made. We were doing the DIY thing over on the Saddle Hunter forum for years. We were over there. We did a lot of DIY. I built, I don't know, 10, 12 saddles that I just shared with everybody on there, and we had a good time just kind of sharing ideas and throwing stuff around. And then we started making a few things because people were interested in them. No saddles or anything load bearing or anything like that. And then my son suggested that we start this thing up, and that's what we did. And now we're off to the races.
Nice. When did you make your first saddle?
For the company,
Yeah. Or
that
oh,
was
just in general.
2018, 2017,
Okay.
2018. Yeah, and it was basically what everybody else did. It was an Anderson sling modified. It was the old greens first, and then we made the old Anderson sling style, and then we went to the case of getting the sit and drags and modifying them like everybody did back then, and modifying platforms and kind of everything. So my first was kind of a copy of the old greens or the old Anderson sling.
Nice. Okay, so I've only been saddle hunting like since 2022 is when I got my
Okay.
first saddle. But you made me a saddle in 2023, which I have here. So I want to make sure everybody, it's custom gear modifications for a reason because Jerry makes custom gear. And so this is my Cobra, blacked out. I asked Jerry, because he does the Sidewinder, to put the Sidewinder on the Cobra, which I thought was really cool. But also, so do you remember making that?
I do
So
remember
it's
that.
all right. So, you know, I say the term like you don't know what you don't know. And after I'd use it, it's great and it's super comfortable. I was like, after I used it a couple of times, I was like, man, why didn't I think three loops?
Yeah,
Because I mean, it is great, but I mean, like I said, if I could have just had one more, but if you guys can see that, like I'll put it on my face, but there's two, he put in here two loops, comfort loops,
yeah,
and
I do remember that. Yeah,
then I used a Kong duck because like I'm scared of heights, deathly afraid of heights, but for some reason, saddle hunting, it's a comfort thing. That's why I think trust your gear is important because for me
oh
it's
yeah,
like when I get attached to the tree, comfort level is like 98%.
sure.
Um but it was kind of nice because I didn't like trying to figure out how to loosen up um any sort of knot or anything. And
Yeah,
anyway, so when I
friction
made
hitches
this,
kind of gave you the pucker factor, huh? The old friction hitches.
whoo, yeah, yeah, like and again, sometimes it's hard to, I didn't know that, like, hey, here's an idea. Use your lineman belt up through your carabiner, tighten that up, and then you can loosen knots. It's not a big
Yeah,
deal. But again, you don't know what you don't know, and everything moved really fast.
yeah.
So, but this thing is, I mean, this is grade A, buddy. Like if you haven't sat in a Cobra, you have to, like, because I went from a very very. I think I had. I mean, I bought my first saddle. I bought the biggest size they offered, but again, it's a single panel, and I went from sticks to one sticking. Like as soon as I got on sticks, I was like, there's got to be a better way.
Yeah,
And so then now I've got like this saddle that's like this big, and I'm a fat kid, so it's like riding up super hard on me.
yeah.
So
They all did in the early days.
yeah, mad
They're
mad tight. But I mean, the first time I saw somebody one stick, um, they had done a quick link, but it wasn't the one that had the screw gate. They just had the one where you'd pinch it shut. They had just left a gap on it, and then that's how they were getting up the tree. And I was
yeah,
like, the concept is pretty cool, but the rest of that's horrifying.
yeah, yeah. It gets a little iffy, and I've had some experiences with things like that early on that make you realize that the extra time it takes, like a screw gate versus or the Delta Quick Link versus a
Yep.
carabiner. A lot of people talk about side loading. I personally don't think you'd ever be able to side load a carabiner enough on a tree to cause the damage that a typical corner side load would do. I wouldn't recommend anybody do it, but the way the screw gate works, the way some of the gated carabiners work, and that we used to use in the day, you realize that the extra little bit of time that like the Delta Quick Link or the Quickie Link that those things take is well worth the peace of mind you get out of knowing that there's no way that's coming off.
Yeah, you got to have a few guys do some sketchy stuff, to make
Yeah,
some quick
yeah,
leaps.
yeah. That's
So
right.
yeah. Um. So I do have a couple of other things that. So you knew I was going to bring some sick in here, right? So
Oh yeah,
this
man.
is
That's the
so
old tippy
last year
pouch.
you made the Sitka saddle, which shout out to Derek,
Yeah,
Derek Lasik. So he won it. So you made two of these pouches in the Sitka saddle, which Um, I've made a rule. I didn't sit in that one. I haven't sat in this one. So
Yeah.
I wanted to, but it's hard not to, especially with the Sitka saddle and with this one. It's like I just look at it and I was like, man, I want to try it out, but I don't want to do any. I feel like I'm doing somebody dirty if I sit in their saddle
No, I mean
first. So
you're just wiping some mojo on it. Nothing wrong with that. I probably sit in 10, 15 saddles a day as we're making them. I can't help myself. I just got to sit in them. So
oh man.
sorry, you guys out there, but most of you probably have them some CGM ass in your saddle.
Oh man. So this is the saddle that you made for this year,
Yeah,
and I've
with
put out
your
a couple
contribution.
promos on it. If you guys want the fishing line too, you can have that, or I could take it off, either one. But let's talk about these pouches and 3D printing, sir.
Yeah, yeah,
So you 3D printing in house now,
yeah. We are, we
and
are. Yeah,
this is okay. Increasing the size of a G hook, this huge made of, and then a little
yeah,
puller on it.
yeah. That was probably
Uh,
one of our major feedbacks we got on the saddle. Everybody loves the way it closes up and wears in like a 5-inch belt, but the G hook was a pain for people to reach behind them. Most people were swinging around to the front, but it was just a pain to reach behind. So making it a little bit bigger and being able to put that little bit of elastic, kind of a reference point for you to be able to get your fingers back there, I think that made it a lot better.
yeah, because it's I say colder over here, but being from rural Idaho, like out here, if it's 15, 20 degrees, I call that cold. But,
Yeah,
when you're from 40 below zero, but yeah, definitely like something like this, a lot easier. Cause,
yeah,
when I wear like the Fanatic outfit, like I can't hardly touch my butt because it's
yeah.
so thick. And so, definitely a huge upgrade there. What gave you this idea? So if you guys can't tell, so he's got the bottom of the pouch. There's a tab on it, and then he's got a 3D printed little plug here. I don't know what else to call it, sir,
Yeah, so we
but
call it a toggle.
and then bungeed. So boop boop. Look at that. So I
Yeah,
saw guys I say back in the day, but it's like 3 years ago for me. They were zip tying their pouch to their saddle, and I was like, I'm not
yeah.
even gonna try. I'm not gonna do that. It looks gross.
I had to change up
So
position there to get my charger on. Yeah, we've been going round and round trying to figure out a way to secure the bottom of the bags. Now, we didn't want them to just be able to secure to the bottom of our saddle. That was an easy fix. But being able to take it and secure it to the bottom of anybody's saddle, because a lot of folks aren't using ours. Every saddle's different. Everybody's comfortable in something else. So we want them to be able to take those side pouches and apply them to other saddles. So that was the best thing we came up with and the simplest thing. And we're always looking at trying to not increase costs, still come up with innovation without increasing costs. And those things are super cheap to print. Right here in house, I can print 200 of them at a time, and that'll last us for 2, 3 months. So it just worked out good. It's nice and simple. You slide it right down into the molly, and it's unintrusive. It doesn't take up any room. It's not something that's difficult to use, and yeah, it just seemed like a good fix. We ran them this year just to make sure they were solid, and they're solid. They don't go anywhere.
yeah, and I appreciate it when companies make it versatile. So when people make gear and it only works with their stuff, oh man.
Oh
I mean,
yeah,
I understand if you're a company trying to make money, but it's like, I mean, when you're new like me, it's like there's so many things I bought where it's like, well, this just doesn't work with this, and
yeah.
then this doesn't work with that, and it's like, oh, okay, well, I'll just return it. They're like, well, it's a 30% restocking fee because you don't have the box, and then it's like, wow,
Yeah,
but
that gets a little nitpicky. That's it's probably the right way to do. It's probably the right way to do things. We just don't have time to play with stuff like that. It's just yeah, we're too busy. We're too busy making stuff to do the restocking and all that. So it's
so
crazy.
more on the pouch, sir. So I noticed this like when I took it out of the bag, and I was like, is there like a nightstick pouch back here? But
Yeah,
you said this, so this is versatile, so you can put your saw in there, yeah, your
yeah.
tree.
Your saw. A lot of guys are carrying the different longer accessories, grunt tubes, things like that, they'll fit right down in there.
Yeah, that's genius, sir. And then
Oh,
so
thanks.
everybody knows, like, so this saddle right here, this is really like pretty much the heart and soul of the Saddle Cartel because Jerry's been around since before me. He's been here, like I said, since day one. He's always been real good to us. So this jacket, so when Trey brought on his first admins, so it was John and Chris and Marcus, and then somehow me. I have no idea why. But anyway, it happens. The Lord works in mysterious ways. He gave us a hoodie and a jacket. So you've seen Trey, and we all have the matching jacket. You'll see Trey in some of his videos where he's making bows. He's wearing the jacket. So Jerry made this saddle out of that jacket and the pockets work. I mean, Jerry, like it's. I just laugh because it's like you convert these things and you make these saddles and stuff, and shit still works on them, like zippers and stuff. It's super
We
legit. Yeah, great place to probably lose your keys if you put them in there. But hey, can of chew for you guys to snooze, whatever.
yeah
But the idea that it still works, like on the Sitka saddle last year, the zipper pocket still worked, on the back and
yeah we
just
try to utilize any existing working pockets because it just kind of, especially on some of the more stuff that's more meaningful to folks. We get a lot of people's dads and grandparents and hunting buddies who have gone. They send us jackets and shirts and hunting clothes. We've done tethered up old tree bark camo, just all sorts of stuff. So we try to incorporate as much as what's on that garment as we can into the item. We did one of our quivers with the quiver side pouch, the gear pouch, and the guy's mom. It was her hunting jacket. I wish I remembered his name. Hopefully he'll say something here. But it's old tree bark green camo, and she had sewn the button on and used blue thread to sew stuff in. I kept that into it just so it's kind of just kind of uh, keep some of the authenticity of the thing in there. But we do a lot lately, especially lately. We've been doing a lot of custom work like that.
nice. Yeah. Yeah, I see it all. It's legit. Like some of
It's
those
awesome to
things
do
come
it too.
out and it's like you post it and I'm like, oh man, but there's only so much money in the world. But yeah, some of those saddles that have come out, I'm just like, oh man, like just they're super fire. So
Oh, we
still
appreciate
on
it.
the pouch. So there is out these are identical. I'm not gonna flip them around for the people at home, but just know that boom. Oh, another thing. So when Jerry and I were talking about this, he asked to take if he wanted me to take the line. He asked if I wanted him to take the liner out. I said no. So for you Southern boys, it will be warm. However, I can tell you that like comfort wise, a Cobra's like a 9. I don't know what this is going to be, but it's padded too. So
I can tell you
this
I sat in it, and it is comfortable. I mean, that extra padding does
I
make a
bet it
difference.
is.
It makes a
I'll
difference.
bet it. I'll bet it's fire. Well, since I know you sat in it, maybe I'll sit in it because
Yeah.
I haven't I haven't, but I think I will. So there's also inside the pouch. There's also another pouch inside the pouch.
Yep.
So and you made one of these on the stiffy, and so I know that if people want it, you can put a little stitch in it or whatever to keep
Yep.
it. So if you guys want, maybe not on this one, but if he makes you something in the future, like that's how mine is on the the pouch that he made me. I'll show you a little. So it's so you've got a little stitch in there right there. But
Got separated
so
out.
yeah, it helps to keep stuff from falling out for sure. Boop. So nice.
And everything we do is customizable. So all you have to do is if somebody buys something, and this is a typical way, is when they go to checkout, there's a note section. The guys will go in there and say, "Hey, I'd like to get a zipper on the inside pocket, or I'd like to get a double pocket on the inside, or split the pocket down the middle, or put a couple molly loops on the outside." And that's kind of our bread and butter. That's what we do. Everything's made to order and in house, so we have that capability to be able to do that.
Yep, and yeah, I can tell the people also that you'll update it as you go. Like there's been
Oh yeah,
several times you're like, hey, this is what you wanted, but like what if I do this? And I'm like, all right, yeah, sure.
yeah.
So,
And we like
yep,
talking to people, get a lot of good ideas from folks for some of these pouches too.
yep, for sure. So let's see. Let's talk. What do you call the safety burrito?
The safety burrito. They have an
Ugh.
official name for it. It has been named the safety burrito now because that's what everybody calls it. And we've updated that now. So it still has the strap in it, but we also included the whistle. I think we're still the only ones that are actually providing it. We try to get it on all the saddles, but we will not hold up shipping a saddle waiting to finish making these. So if like during a really busy season, we'll make those as often as we can and get them on as many saddles as we can. We try to get it on all of them, but during the busy season, stuff's coming in and out. So we're shipping saddles without those, uh, generally with them, but every once in a while we'll have to miss one. So if anybody missed it, sorry about that. It's something we added last year, and it's basically kind of the same concept as with a tree stand harness. You have your pressure relief strap. That functions as a pressure relief strap because even in the saddle, you can still succumb to pressure trauma. So that basically is a whoopee sling, wraps around the tree. You put your foot in it. You can stand up in it to take the relief off the saddle if your platform or your stick fails and you're just hanging out there. But you can also self recover with it using the two tether climbing on the way down. So you can drop that down the tree, move your saddle down, and inchworm down the tree with it. But now we also started including a whistle. So we actually are 3D printing whistles in house, and that's included in that roll. So that if you don't feel like climbing down, you can start blowing it and get your buddy to come over and give you a hand.
3D printing at home has changed the game for people.
Oh, it
Not a
has.
lot of people have seen this, but got a
Oh,
little
nice.
saddle cartel elk skull, so a
Nice.
little elk euro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So
awesome, man. The main reason we started 3D printing is because we have these little Canadian buttons that we use on all sorts of stuff. We use them on our back bands and we use them on that saddle muffs. That's the Prusik buttons that hold it to the bridge. And the people that were making them outsourced to China, and we won't use anything from China. So we couldn't find them anymore. So we started 3D printing them ourselves, and we're able to make them a little beefier. And that was our answer to that. And then it just grew from there, and we started saying, okay, well, let's start doing this. And then we came up with the crab grappler, and we made a better version of our tether handles. We were doing an Amstel tether handle with a white a PEX tube around it, but now that's just completely 3D printed. It's nice to be able to come up with solutions and print it in house.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did have another question. So I saw a post by AJ Myers the other day, and he said that Jerry from CGM gave him crabs. So that's got to be a
Yeah, that's a
interesting.
problem. Yeah, spreading that stuff all over the place.
Dude.
Marine,
So
Marines are funny that way, man. It's them purple crayons are dangerous for your brain.
yeah, do you have one of those handy sitting by you?
Yeah,
Like,
give me one second.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's it. It basically just a little 3D printed, about half an inch thick, fits right in your pocket, has magnets on the bottom, and it's spring loaded. So you just take it, pull it apart, and you twist it, and it kind of locks into place. So it's just a drop down grappling hook. And we actually
Legit.
there's actually a lot more engineering to this whole thing you would think. Like the angles on the teeth are set so that a lot of the grappling hooks that are out there, when you put them on the ground, they'll dig into the ground and you'll get more leaves and stuff. These are actually set at an angle so that when it's sitting on the ground, it won't grab those leaves, or it'll minimalize grabbing the stuff on the ground and be able to pick up whatever you're picking up. And then the closing, you
Nice.
just pull that back and snap it right back in place. Throw it in your bag.
Yeah, that's legit. When he mentioned that, I was like, oh, I was
Yeah,
like, that's pretty legit, man. Like,
yeah, we're pretty proud of that. We like that little thing. It's been pretty handy. We've got quite a few of them out there now. We've got a lot of feedback on it. People using it, and I mean, it ain't saving lives, but it's helping people get the little Debbies back up into the tree.
yeah, I can. Story for me is like I'm a gadget guy. I love like I love get because I'm a terrible hunter, but I mean I enjoy just the whole process, even the shower at the end of the day. Like I love the whole process. The drive there, whatever, the build up, you know. But gadgets, and the thing is like there's some stuff I've packed in my bag for like 2 years and never needed it. Thought about taking it out and
Yeah,
was like, whatever. I don't want to mess with my bag. And then it's like one time I dropped my jacket
it's all it
and it
takes.
was like it started pouring rain, and I was like, oh, and I dug, and I was like, boom, and I had a hook, and I got it first try, and I was like, oh man, just
Yeah,
I mean, sometimes it's the littlest things.
it is, man. That kind of stuff will it'll drive you nuts. And I'm terrible about dropping stuff. I've gotten away from, that's where the rabbit hole for saddle hunting starts. It's simple up to that point of the gadget. You need something to get up the tree with, something to stand on, something to hold your ass in the tree. You got your sticks, your platform, and your saddle. From there, the rabbit hole starts. All the little gadgets, and it's all cool. You want to play with all of it, and it's all functional, and it all has a definite role. That's for sure. But nobody can carry all of it.
Yeah, and it's like I mean, like I said, I've only been doing like the stick and saddle hunting for 22, 23, 24. This will be 25.
Yeah,
But it's like even just in the years that I've been doing it, it's like stuff was like big and clunky, and it's kind of like they did with cell phones. It was like big and clunky, smaller, smaller, smaller. Oh shit, my feet
yeah,
don't fit on this
yeah, yeah,
anymore.
yeah,
So now let's carry extra stuff with us. And
yeah,
so just some of the progressions there are pretty crazy.
yeah. It really
Uh,
is.
so question about the Cobra. So a little R&D.
Yeah,
So how many prototypes or how long did it take to get to the modern day Cobra you've got now? Like was it how many time tries that it's like, okay, this has got to go. I need to add this, blah blah blah. Rough estimate.
23.
23.
Yeah, exactly 23 versions we came out with before we came out with what's on the market. And then
Wow.
it's changed several times since then. We've added things. It took 23 to get us to testing. And then once we tested, we consider the chassis, the panel, and all the safety stuff sacred. None of that will ever change. The pleat will move, up or down. So that's one of the things we do custom is we have a form. We have our regular saddles on the website. You can get them, and those are generally good fits. But if somebody wants something custom, like if you have a guy that's 200 pounds, 6'4", and he has a 28-inch inseam, so we know he's long torsoed, he's going to have lower back. Needs the lower back longer, so we'll drop the pleat down an inch or two, or vice versa. So we're able to move it around. But everything else is sacred, does not get messed with because that is what our third-party testing is based on. Everything else is modifiable from there, and everything grows from there. We've adjusted fire as we've gone over the last 3 years, just to kind of we get feedback and we take it to heart and we implement a lot of it.
Yeah, the Cobra is a killer saddle because it's like I carry a back band just in case. Again, gadget thing just in case. But I mean, I don't know that maybe. I mean, there was probably a once or twice there where it's like I decided, oh, I'll tough it out and I'll do like 12 hours or something.
Yeah,
But that's rare for me. And I might have pulled it out once or twice. But I mean, in a Cobra, like you don't even need a back band. Like that's your thing. You just
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you
We
can, you can,
appreciate it.
yeah, you can sit like you can sit in a Cobra for like 5 hours, and it's just you. I mean, I say it's like one of those little kid jumps, the one that you has the spring loaded. That's like
Those things are
you
those
hang
things are
between the
awesome.
door. It's like that. I
Yeah,
mean, you just like the first. I don't know if you remember, but I sent you a picture shortly after I got it. Because I was hanging out in because I'm in the
you're in a
city.
park or something, and you had your that's back when you were wearing all your Ninja Black stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So I was able to lay flat, no back bend, just boom, feet flat on the tree, just boom, and lay flat. And I hung there for probably like a half hour, just like that. No
Nice.
back bend. And I was like, this is legit.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you're talking it's when it's fully deployed. Have you measured it? I mean, I don't even know what that distance
Yeah,
is.
the large opened up is 29 inches. Yeah.
You get the coverage, so it's
Yeah. Yeah,
um
the pleat adds another almost 8 inches to the saddle. I think it's the largest pleat on the market. But we can do that because it's a webbing pleat. Our pleat is separate. The majority of the pleated saddles are the panel mesh or the panel material folded in a certain way. Ours is actually so if you took our sidewinder, our size one sidewinder, and you took our medium sidewinder and our size one Cobra and laid them down, they're the exact same saddle, except one of them has a pleat built in. The panel size is the same, closed on the Cobra. So we basically cut the sidewinder panel in half, or we put it wherever it needs to be for that person, and then the pleat is sewn in. So it's all webbing pleat. The folds are all webbing, which is why it stays shut when you're walking in or when you're in the tree. It doesn't open until you want it to open. But it enables us to add a lot more pleat to it too.
yeah, they're killer. And
I appreciate
and
that, man.
yeah, and product wise, you try to source as much stuff as possible from like USA companies, correct?
Yep, absolutely. If we can't find it U.S. made, then we'll either make it or we'll encourage somebody to potentially make it. And that's just for all the little hardware and stuff like that. Uh,
Yeah,
some,
which is
some,
super hard to do.
it
Super
really
hard to do.
It really is. You got to stay on top of stuff. And even if you do start out with something that's US made, they're not required to notify you when they go overseas. So, and that happens a lot where you kind of have to stay on top of it. Like if you see a change in something, we recently had that with some of our sliders. We were sourcing them and they were getting them from a U.S. manufacturer. The guys we were picking them up from were getting them from a U.S. manufacturer. And then I checked back in with 3 months later, and it turns out they had outsourced. So I had to go to another source to get those. So we work hard to try to keep everything U.S. U.S. made as we can, very compliant and mil spec.
Nice.
It's a challenge to
Awesome.
do that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I started I mean, because I love Sitka, but it's not USA made, so I started making it so that if I buy something Sitka, then I buy an American like camo brand.
Yeah.
It's gotten expensive doing that, but I was like, hey, if I want something new from Sitka, I got to buy something from an American company. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I
um,
like the Sitka pattern is super popular, and you can't get it anywhere else. So that's one of those situations where if that's the pattern that works for you, and for me, camouflage. I'm a flannel guy and jeans kind of guy. There you go. I'm a flannel and jeans kind of guy. I'm not a real big camo guy. But I realize that certain camo patterns give people confidence. That's what it's all about. If you're out there confident, then you're going to be more successful than if you're out there guessing yourself. So if Sitka does that, and if it's unfortunately made outside the U.S. and that's what gives you the confidence. I don't see anything wrong with that. But there are a
yeah,
lot of good U.S. Elite is U.S. made. As you know, um, Jocko's group there. Big green flag.
Origin. That's who I
Origin. I don't know
buy
why that
from.
one got away from me.
Origin. Yeah.
Origin. Good camo companies out there.
Yep. I have two full suits.
Is
I
that
have
right?
some jeans. I have that mock toe shoe. Not to advertise Origin, but I will. The mock toe boot. It's
Yeah.
it's fire too.
Yeah. We
And
got a
and
lot of
that's not my style, but I dig them.
we
But
got a lot of Origin fans, and they send us a lot of stuff. So we've done a lot of stuff in the Origin pattern with donated garments from people. Same thing with Elite.
yeah, they don't have any Gore-Tex yet, so that's why. Because
Yeah.
up here, it's like if you don't like hunting in the rain or you refuse to hunt in the rain, you don't hunt up here.
Hmm.
I mean, you just don't have an opportunity.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. That's
um,
that's rough up there for sure.
yeah, it
I tell
is
you, I
like
tell you what, if you want to really mess up your hunting, start a hunting company. That'll do worse than rain for your hunting career.
yeah, yeah. Um, can we talk a little like future R&D? Like, is there some stuff coming up that maybe you want to share or?
Yeah, I guess the newest thing is we just came out with the moccasin saddle. I don't know if you saw that, but that's our that's just a single panel budget
Yeah, it's the
U.S. made.
see-through one. Yep, yep.
Yeah, yeah, it's mesh. It's the same TP21. It's made by Apex Mills. That mesh is. It's a single directional stretch mesh. I see a lot of advertisement about all way stretch material on saddles. For me, that doesn't work. It just gives more room for the meat in your ass to spread out and the straps to cause more pressure. So we like a vertical stretch material. We don't use anything that stretches side to side unless it's something somebody sends us. But yeah, it's just mesh. It's just a bare bones, real plain. Still got a lot of features to it. Still quality material. I pegged the term sham steel now because a lot of Dyneema is made in China, so I'm calling it sham steel. We're not using sham steel. We're using actual AM steel material on there. So
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't the price point like 152 on that?
yep, 152.
See, told you I saw it.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I'm good with
Yeah.
numbers.
Yeah, so
Um,
we got that out. We're working on a couple of other 3D print items that are smaller, Molly related items that are different from what's out there now. Making a few changes to the saddle muff this year, like a closable pocket. That was one of the responses we got a lot on that is making the pocket a little more closable, putting a little more an angle to it. But as far as brand new stuff, no, nothing really pokes out right now. With some of the small stuff, not load bearing stuff, being small like us, we can come up with an idea, develop it, put it together in 3 days, play with it for a week, or send it to somebody to play with for a week. And if it works, then we're going to throw it out. So, we could not have anything today, but by Friday of next week, we could be on top of something that's going to be fairly new in the industry. So it's nice having that flexibility. That's
nice.
what's nice about being small, and we won't grow any much bigger than what we are right now. We're going to stay this size.
Yeah. And one more question. So I know in the past, and I've asked this a few times, are you still doing like the saddle like loaner program? Like if they pay for shipping,
Oh
are you
yeah,
still doing that?
yeah. That's gonna stay our thing. I'm a big believer. You don't see us at the shows. We don't do the shows because I believe you need more than 2-3 minutes to sit in the saddle to feel like you want it, feel like it's right for you. And a lot of people will go to shows and they'll see our price point and they will lean into our saddle because of the price point, and it might not be right for them. So it's better to be able to get a saddle in with no risk, try it for a couple days, wear it for an hour or two straight, play with all the adjustments, and then you can see if it's something that's really going to fit you because customers are doing us no good if they buy our saddle and they think it sucks, and then they're on internet blasting it or something like that. I would much rather you pick it up, try it. If you don't like it, send it back to us and go away happy with somebody else. That's perfectly fine.
Yeah, yeah, because that's why like I haven't really received. I mean, I've gotten like okay, here's a discount for 10% off or something for the most part. I've pretty much bought everything that I own. That way, I feel comfortable being like, okay, here's an honest opinion, and it
Yeah,
can't be like, well, I gave this dude some free stuff, and he blah blah blah, or I gave that to you for free, so you should have given me a good review. Like,
yeah.
be
No,
like,
I don't. We don't play that way either. I mean, we have because it's valuable to us to get that feedback and to get that review out there, even if it's a bad review. uh, people get the information, and that's what matters. People get all the information, and they get a bunch of different perspectives. I don't think we've had a bad review yet, and I try to stay on top of them and track them, and I post a lot of them all the time.
yeah,
But
because
if that's the way it happens, that's the way somebody feels, and it gives us feedback that maybe we can make some changes or adjustments to normalize things a little bit more.
Yeah, because when you made the custom saddle, you were just coming out with the Ridgeback. So when I said I've gotten pretty much everything I paid for, I didn't pay for this. Jerry hooked it up,
Yeah.
but I said I'd give he said just give me an honest review, and I did. And on camera, I was like, he said check it out. I put like a 10-pound kettlebell on it, and I swung it around, and I was like, passes the sniff test.
Yeah.
So. And
But
I dig this thing too, man. Like, uh, I run it vertical though,
yeah,
and shove my rope down inside of it.
yeah,
Again, I'm usually wearing multiple layers because I'm soaking wet, so it's hard for me to reach behind my back. But this was legit too. But so
awesome.
appreciate you for
Yeah,
that, sir.
yeah. That Ridgeback that didn't last very long. We kind of tagged it, and we try to limit the number of items we have just because we're a small family shop, so we can't
Yeah,
produce everything fast enough. So we basically took our V1 dropout bag and kind of combined it with the Ridgeback, and that's where the V2 dropout came from. So now you can mount it horizontally, vertically. Uh, Made a pocket flap on it so it keeps stuff in it. So we did a lot of modifications to that, and I think we've dialed that one in now.
nice. Well, I'm glad I got the first.
Yeah, man. You
So
might have got the first
yeah,
and the last. I don't remember how many of those we made.
yeah. Um. All right, sir. Well, to kind of close it out, how about a favorite gadget?
Favorite gadget for me?
Yeah, I'm a gadget guy. You know, I had to ask.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that one. Hunting
I should
related.
have I should have texted that to you because sometimes people are like, "Oh man, I wish you'd have given me a little more time on that."
No, that's all right. I got so many gadgets, not just ours, from other people. I'm trying to see which one is probably one of my favorites. Um, I don't know. I don't know what that would be off the top of my head.
Yeah, I
No idea.
like I said, yeah, mine was well. That's why I asked about the the crab claw. So because that was the one time I used a hook and it worked. I was just like, it was worth the 50 times I took it with me in my pack.
Yeah.
So
I'll tell you one thing that I think is a really neat product, and it's something that almost everybody has, and it's a great design, and it stood the test of time. Is the Doyle's gear hoist, the rope version specifically. I like that thing.
I, I don't think I've seen it. So I'll have to Google that. Doyle's hoist.
Yeah, the gear Doyle's gear hoist, and it's real, and it's been around for I don't know 20 years. I actually spoke to Mr. Doyle because we make a pouch specifically for it, so you can just hang it on the back of your saddle and run it right through a grommet, the rope. So you climb up, it's spring loaded. It's like a dog leash without the handle, a little
Oh,
smaller,
okay.
more compact. That's probably one of my favorite gadgets that's out there, other than my own stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, any closing comments, sir? I do want to say, hey, I appreciate you again for donating for the second year in a row to the Men's Mental Health Fundraiser.
Yeah, absolutely,
Um,
man. I appreciate you guys letting us be part of it. We're proud to be part of it. You know, being veterans, there's a lot of veterans out there that are dealing with some mental health issues and PTSD and things like that. I know these guys support that, and so do we. And we're part of a few different organizations: the EOD Wounded Warrior Foundation. I'm with EOD in the Army, so I got a lot of buddies that are involved in that. And yeah, it's awesome that you guys are doing it. We appreciate you guys letting us be part of it.
awesome. Thanks, Jerry. Hey, I appreciate your time, sir.
Yeah,
And
man.
hopefully have you back on at some point. And we'll see you in June, huh?
All right, brother. Be safe.
All right, you too. Have a good one. Thanks.
Thanks.